because I started when I was the first lieutenant in the Army. That was 27 years ago. And then I had to change my major, obviously, because those classes don't count towards my degree. They do count towards my GPA, though, which is bullshit because I have a 4.0 now. But because I was doing a master's in public administration, that brought my GPA down. So it's only a 3.7, but should be a 4.0. But anyways, I thought that was a pretty funny story. And then back then, they could actually whip you with a paddle. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but they had this thing called the persuader. And if you got in trouble, they could actually paddle your butt, which is now considered cruel and unusual punishment, which I think is kind of funny because my mom used to beat my ass all the time. And I think tough love is actually good for kids. I think some of them need more of it these days. They have that sense of entitlement, which is a lot of bullshit. Oh, I see Tap's in here, so I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
And with that, jump Tap.
Hey, good morning. It's a good day
Good
in the
morning.
Punchbowl. We talking about beating kids. That's a disavow. Remember, my stance in the Punchbowl here is, and also we're broadcasting live on Rumble. We're live as of like 2 minutes ago. Wipe the sleep out of my eyes. I'm like, all right, they've had some warm up time. If you can beat your kid as an adult, when your kid is an adult, they should be able to come to your house and beat the shit out of you for everything you beat them for as a kid, for when you make mistakes. Like when you lie, like when you do any of those things that you would punish your kid for and beat the shit out of them, your kid should be able to come to your house now and beat the fuck out of you as an old man for everything you beat them for the same things. That's how I see it. Because I don't know. I have a learning disability. And it takes me a while to learn things. But I'll tell you what. I never learned anything from having my goddamn ass beat other than it fucking hurts and I hate my parents. So, I don't know. Y'all can keep that shit to yourselves. If I ever have kids, I'm going to be kind to them and try and coach them. I ain't going to put my hands on them unless I have to. I reject the celebration of child abuse this morning.
Well, I think that's the difference between your generation and my generation, because I didn't look at it as I was getting my ass beat. I was getting what I had coming to me for fucking up, pure and simple. And I never, I'm not saying it didn't happen to a lot of families back in the day, because it did, but for the most part, my dad didn't do anything that was going to ever physically hurt me. He did it for my own good, to teach me right from wrong, and I learned from it.
Some kids are Nimrods, and they do stupid stuff knowing that that's the result. Other kids just ask their parents a question and get their ass beat. So there's probably a big difference, and there's a big gray area there.
Yep. Sometimes you just exist, and that's a problem. It's just also, like that politically correct stuff. I don't get it. Yep. And that's why I say, and the other thing is, people celebrate it. They enjoy telling stories about hitting their children. They enjoy telling it in social circles. Oh, yeah, I do this. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay. Well, I'm glad you had that kid. I'm glad you love them so much. I'm glad that you celebrate in social settings abusing them. That's fantastic.
Cap, you should shame those people. If I heard anybody in public talking about celebrating or enjoying the hitting of their children, I would instantly start to shame them and try my best to sort of point out the error of their ways. Oddly, though, in the town square, right, you hear people looking back at getting beat, right, by their parents and remembering it fondly. That requires some other level of criticism. And to your point, I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, I told my pops, I was like, you know what, I'm going to show up at your nursing home and kick the walker out from under you and beat the shit out of you one day. And the dude just looked at me dead in the eyes and was like, I'll be ready.
Not today, Satan.
Go for it, Al.
So, Tap, I want to clear something up. My mom would spank me. I called that beating the shit out of me, but she didn't actually beat the shit out of me. Um, she would spank me when I did something wrong. And I don't think that that's actually abuse. But I will tell you that I have a son that has special needs. He's autistic. He has Asperger's. He's going to be 22. He's working on his trades in school at a tech school. He's going to graduate the same time I do with my master's degree. He's a Eagle Scout, graduated high school. He drives a car. And I'll tell you, I have two kids. My daughter's going to be 19. She graduated ninth in her class in high school, and she's getting ready to start college at UNC Charlotte. And I never, ever hit my kids, ever. I don't believe in it. But back in the day, that was actually something that parents did. I never did that to any of my kids, and I wouldn't advocate for it now. So I just wanted to let you know that I don't support it. Um, and you know, I understand if you have special needs. I've dealt with it all my life, and I know a lot about autism because I studied up on it, and I became very educated on it because when I was younger, I had an anger management issue, and I didn't understand my son, and I didn't know why he would act up, and that would trigger me. But now I know, you know, and knowing is half the battle, obviously. But for anybody who has a child with special needs, they're very special people. And I'm very blessed to have my son in my life. I can tell you that. I thank God every day for both of my kids. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand that I don't support that, and I never ever hit my kids or my wife. I treated everybody with respect. So I'll end my plane on that.
Understood and appreciated, Al. I have no doubt about that. It's still one of those things that allows me to go off on a rant early in the morning, though. It's a good one to be able to talk about the perspective of the generational difference. I enjoy it. I like making the point. I like having the conversation. So wasn't meant to be at you per se. You're good people from what I can tell so far. So yeah, I ain't got nothing against you, man.
What's my punishment? What's my punishment? Okay, so I'm 51. The wooden paddle with holes. The thing that looks like you could probably save your life going upstream with it. There was a sign they had a sign. It said "Stay off equipment," and it was the pommel horse with the board you jump off of. I don't know the name of it. What do you call that?
Springboard.
Springboard. Yes, I had the springboard and the pommel horse and then a big ass mat. So one guy did it a couple times, and then I took off running full speed, hit that sucker, got like a flip, and then I seen his ass in the middle of my flip, telling the coach, the gym teacher, "Look at him, look at him." I got sent down and I got the old wooden paddle to the ass. What would have been the right? Get kicked out of school, 3 days, write 1,000 words, stay off gym equipment. But what would have been the fair treatment, the punishment?
Maybe instead of sending President Trump to jail, we should just have someone give him a spanking.
Oh my God, that's all I've been thinking about, Cap. It's all I've been thinking about. You think Donnie ever got like bent over someone's knee, right? You think his father or mother ever said like, "Donnie, come here," and just smacked his ass? No, and you can tell. You can tell, quite frankly.
Listen, no one got spanked like Trump. That much I can tell you. Okay? No one can take a smack. All right, you can get the biggest guy up here, the biggest parents, the largest hands, just like mine. That much I can tell you. I can take it.
Past the age of like being able to speak to your child and have them understand you, I don't understand corporal punishment because, I mean, really, physical punishment should be at the point of nonverbal ability, in my opinion. And even then, it
Jen,
should
Jen,
be
have you met
immediate.
humans?
What?
Have you met humans?
No, so for me, when anytime I've been babysitting kids since I was 13. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and she used to babysit kids. And there is no reason to, like, one, make punishment weight, two, not be creative with how you can punish your children. It doesn't have to be physical. Actually, the worst punishments for my son were non-physical when he got older. He would lose his bedroom door and I would make him take it off. So he would lose his right to privacy and he hated it. And that was after, okay, I'm going to take away your electronics. I'm going to take away this. I'm going to take away that. Nope. The one he dreaded the most was losing that bedroom door and losing his sense of privacy, because really all of us need that, right? We want to have a place we can go that's our spot. And he had learned, at the age of 11 and 12 that that was a big deal for him. But like when he was younger, he would take off. He would run. I would lose him, and he has autism, and that's scary for a parent who has a kid who's nonverbal and is also autistic. So yeah, I would have to grab his ear. I didn't smack his head or smack his butt or anything like that. I did the Chinese thing of pinching his arm or grabbing his ear. And to this day, if you go around his ear or his upper arm, he will still flinch, unfortunately. So maybe I did it a little too often when he was younger. But I mean, those were the two ways that I punished my kid. I think I was spanked once in my life, and I cried so much that my dad was in tears. And he said, I'm never, ever doing that again. For me, it was just enough to know I disappointed my parents and I'd start hyperventilating. So, some kids, though, they're pigheaded. I can understand parents' frustrations, and they're very independent, and yeah, they drive you a little crazy.
So I never respected my mother, so anytime there was a punishment, I never felt as if I was actually being punished for anything. I basically just felt like she was throwing a temper tantrum and I was there. So like, I don't know. Like it was never anything I ever learned from. I was a kid. You just tell me what to do, with the exception of homework. You tell me what to do, I would just follow the rules. Like that's how I was. I think that Donald Trump probably should have had more exposure to it, but at the same time, the psychological stuff is way worse. Oh my God, that can be a lot of fun. But I think for the punishment, a lot of it has to deal with, do you even respect the person putting out the punishment? Like, I'll relate it this way. I did not respect my mother. So if I was punished, I was like, well, who are you? You violate this stuff all the time. This is hypocrisy. I'm just under your control for now. It's the same way with the United States federal government this morning with the charges against former President Trump. I'm not joking around on that. Like, I don't respect their government. I don't view them as legitimate or as having moral high ground, but yet they're levying charges. It's the same thing with like this parent situation. You're not living your life any better, but you want to come down on me. What the deuce?
I can very much agree with that. Yeah, because obviously I had to respect my parents to feel like I disappointed my parents by misbehaving. So, yeah, I agree with that. And, unfortunately, I feel bad, Tap, that you grew up with a parent that you couldn't even respect at such a young age.
Oh, no, 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 no. This doesn't feel bad. This is awesome. I have a good life. I'm an awesome person. Like, I turned out fucking great. So this
I
isn't
don't feel
for
bad for
me.
you now. I feel bad for young
Cool.
Tap. I feel bad for young Tap.
Yeah,
I want to
Leo.
suggest that if public spanking was the punishment for many crimes, we'd have way less crime. I really think more than the death penalty, if you knew you were going to get your ass beat on public television, like in front of America, right? Maybe with the paddle with the holes in it. I got hit with one of those. It's not fun. I think that kind of punishment, like we should bring back, right? I think if Trump faced public spanking, he'd be a lot more careful, right? I also think he could benefit from a public spanking, and America would pay to watch that. And if our criminals knew they were going to get publicly beat, right, and like for breaking the law, I think it works way better than anything.
Well,
That
I just did the American thing and I Googled Trump being spanked. Guess what, guys? Trump was spanked with a wooden spoon by his mother. So, yes, he even got spankings.
Now, Jeff, let me ask. I'm not familiar with what wooden spoons were the size of back then, but they seem
Uh,
relatively small to me.
no,
And
sir.
Sorry?
No, sir. The ones that they had back when we were kids, they hung them on the walls and they were lethal.
Okay. I just want to make sure because President Trump is a large man, so I'd imagine he was a large child.
It's the speed and velocity that those things can come up. They break wind.
Yeah, when you
And
hear the
and,
hole
and probably the
drilled in
wood
it
spoon.
whistle, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, the wood spoon we're talking about was probably like the 28-inch to 30-inch wood spoon for stock pots. not this little, not
All
this
I'm saying
little.
is that, yes, Donald Trump did receive spanking. So that is not a factor here, guys.
Okay, let's do
so
this. We'll do a special Punchbowl Town Square. Y'all get Tulsi Gabbard and all the different like paddles and spoons and everything, and she can spank me, and we'll do a review live of what I think of each one.
Good morning, Punchbowl. Don here, Northern. I'm up early. I made it.
Crazy.
I'm so happy.
Good morning, our favorite Canadian. Thank
Oh,
you for joining the Garden Cast last night.
oh yes, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me and allowing me to speak because it's me. But anyways, weighing in on the whole spanking thing, it may come as no surprise that I was spanked. Yes, it's true. Um, it was usually because of some major infraction of the the described parameters. But my father had this strange thing where he would say, "Okay, you know what you did. Now you got to go and get your own whipping stick." And I would be gone for hours trying to drag the biggest freaking log out of the freaking bush, and something that he couldn't you know, easily swing. I mean, he could probably still do it. He's a pretty big man, but yeah. And he came from a family where they used to line him up. Like, if any one of their 10 siblings, sorry, would uh, screw up, then the whole works got. Well, she started with a wooden spoon, but when that broke, she would take the electric cord out of a electric frying pan, and line them all up, and everybody got the same punishment. Didn't matter who did the infraction. So it made a whole bunch of little co-conspirating criminals is what it did. And I'm lucky I didn't get beat more. But yeah, I think I turned out okay. Fuck you! No, I'm just kidding.
So, in order to avoid the public's embarrassment of more trials of President Trump, would the left find it satisfactory, and would the right find it satisfactory that rather than to continue with these charges against President Trump, to choose one person to issue the spanking, find a large football stadium, maybe at a halftime game as football ramps up, and we'll have President Trump be issued one public spanking for what he did or did not do, and then we can all move on from this. I'm proposing that to the Punchbowl Town Square this morning.
So right,
Also,
wrong, or indifferent, you want him to get spanked.
yeah, it's so we can all move on, Jeff. It's not about whether he did it. He would have to obviously consent to this. And listen, I'd love to hear him talk about how no one gets spanked like him. It'd be an amazing impression. I wish we could get Josh Rosen in here. But the other thing is, we are live on Rumble right now, and we need to read off the promos. And so we're like talking in the back chat. So if anyone wants to come up and plug the Punchbowl live on Rumble for however many people are listening and why you love it, raise your hand.
Go ahead, Brooke.
Good morning, everybody. I think that that's a great idea. That would we be sending the funds would you be charging admission, and would you be sending the funds to the candidacy, or no?
No, we're going to pay off. However, we're going to take all of the funds collected, and we're going to pay off a Democrat's house and a Republican's house, and we're going to keep going in that cycle until we're out of money from that. We're not going to give to charity. We're not going to give to some political campaign. We're not going to give to breast cancer awareness. For this one, we're going to give back to just average Americans.
Nice.
I'd say Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and who's the other lady? They should be the ones giving the spanking.
And we could like make them pay, like if they had an entry fee, so that whoever wanted to administer the spanking could actually bid on the job. I think we could actually like make a couple bucks.
No, it's an auction. Whoever pays the most gets to do the spanking.
What if it's The Rock? Everyone loves The Rock. Would we accept The Rock spanking President Trump?
I don't know. I think that you want to look for like you would think The Rock could be like he would spank with amazing velocity and intensity. But something tells me there's like a skinny little lady out there who just understands physics, right? She maybe weighs 88 pounds soaking wet, and she can like just knock you into next week.
Rock's an
Okay.
actor too, eh? Rock's an actor. You wouldn't know for sure if he was like putting out the full strength.
Yeah, that's what
I,
I was just gonna
that's for
say.
sure. I
He's
need
a
somebody who's
wrestler.
gonna sweat while they're doing it, and then they actually want to do it. That's the difference.
I'm liking the old lady route. Like, she's got experience. I'm picturing that she has a shirt with a floral design on it. She's giving some sort of lecture while she does it. She's not yelling. It's worse than that. It's just this stern tone of disappointment.
And she's got the
So
reading
AOC,
glasses on too,
What
right?
if afterwards it's so effective that, like, President Trump walks away and he changes his flippin' life? Like, he makes changes. He starts investing in people rather than firing them. Like, he starts taking accountability for his decisions. He just talks a little quieter. He's a little bit more humble. Just needed one good spanking from a grandma.
Listen, you need either a Christian lady or like a Jewish lady to lay on the guilt trip too while giving the spanking. And looking over the top of her reading glasses with just this utter disappointment, while she's given the deadpan
Oh,
guilt trip for sure.
I
But
got
also
the
the
perfect
rock,
candidate.
hold on, Don, hold on. But also, I'm sorry, the minute that you mentioned the rock, like that spanking to me became homoerotic, and you could literally sell that to like, porn sites, I think, at that point. Just saying.
yeah, let's not talk about that in the punch bowl.
I was thinking Judge Judy, maybe.
I'm down with AOC.
The Krasensteins.
I'm telling you, the lady you want is going to look like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's going to have like sort of like an edgy voice, like maybe Katharine Hepburn or something like that. That would be the real horror, right? Like that Katharine Hepburn could just like smack a new identity into your face.
And she has to hate the idea of being talked to by the press or any fame. She's just like, this is someone from obscurity that comes out to save America in our time of need, and she disappears right afterwards, and we never see her again.
Making
May
America great, one ass paddling at a time.
Does he
May
have to
Musk.
respond with "Thank you, sir" or "Ma'am"? May I have another?
The old lady who saved America with one hand. Oh my gosh. That's got to be out there somewhere. There's going to be a plaque.
And she's got a special paddle with the American flag on it, painted in there. Some
No,
holes
engraved.
drilled for
So it
wind
leaves a mark.
resistance. Yeah, I agree. What I want
Oh,
to know
but
is, can we get this imported into Canada? Like, you guys get it off the ground and then bring it up here, and I think we could probably clear some houses.
I
let's
think you
not get us Americans too excited about coming up with stuff and spreading it to other countries. We tend to take it too far.
I'm with Tap on that. Canada's going to have to solve their own problems. I think ass beating is a solution that is peculiar to Americans. And because notice it sort of lurks around a lot of our conversations. Many of the people in the town square had their ass beat and don't mind, right? But a lot of us decided not to beat a child's ass when it misbehaved. And to pick on Trump would be perfect, right? Like you always want to look for a good scapegoat. Like we're going to start spanking again, and we're starting with Don.
Trump,
Also,
Trump.
JT bent over accepting a spanking, as I mentioned before, that's pretty homo.
All right, be sure to check us out on the punchbowl.space to learn more about the Punchbowl team, pick up some cool merch, get a great discount from our sponsor. Find the link to join our growing community at Punchbowlians, a community of Punchbowlians on Discord. Town Square goes live every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's move away from spankings.
I was just getting into it.
Did I
Exactly.
put too much
See,
taint on it, Bishop? Is that what happened?
Jen, you
someone,
gotta be stopped.
someone take her mic.
Don't tempt me.
Definitely take Donald's because he's not going to be able to drop it.
Tain't nothing.
See? Take it.
No, I really am taking his mic.
Jeff, how's Ford doing today?
Oh, Ford's doing awesome. 870,000 recalls. The number one most recalled brand of the year. Ford is having a great time. Their stock is only down 4%. Nothing major. And yeah, it seems the F-150 ICE edition not doing so well.
All right, who's gonna stick up for Ford?
Not me. Chevy's not even on the list, I don't think.
Jeff, let me say this because you know this kind of thing. What I give Ford credit for not taking the bailouts those few years ago, right? Wasn't Ford the one automaker that refused bailout money?
Okay, before I go to that, Ford Motor Company may not have taken a bailout, but did their credit company, which is actually where they make 90-something% of their money. Yeah, it's a funny little gray area there. Tap.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, whether it's Ford or Chevrolet, these are American made vehicles. And if you get something made by Americans, they're just focused off getting off work so they can have another cheeseburger, watch Netflix, and cheat on their spouse. This is not a quality made product. Buy a Toyota. It'll last for decades. It has less recalls. It's just a better all around product. So while you've got your Ford in the shop for the recall getting fixed, while you've got the Chevy on jack stands fixing it once again because they're so easy to work on, consider Toyota.
Here's what I don't understand. Anybody who's seen Gung Ho, a great movie from the 80s starring Michael Keaton, and it's about the auto industry, remembers that after we nuclear bombed Japan, eventually we were like, hey, these are neat people, check them out. And then we found out, like, oh, they're really efficient at making cars, right? And then we went and studied the way they made cars. We started inviting them over here to study the way we made cars. And then we started making cars the way they made cars, right? And so why is it that a Toyota works, but a Ford doesn't?
Well, hold on one second, because I want to go down the list of recalls really fast, at least the top 10. Ford, 31 recalls. Chrysler, 26. BMW, 20. Mercedes, 14. Jaguar, 14. Volkswagen, 11. Honda, 11. Tesla, 10. Hyundai, 9. And Toyota, 8. I don't even see my trusted Chevy on that list.
I'm calling bias.
So,
Where is he sourcing this stuff, Bishop?
so these numbers, that's the National Highway Transportation Safety, whatever the A is. I don't know.
Association.
Association. So each number, 31, that's individual recalls per vehicle. Well, you can say 31, not per vehicle, but there's 31 situations where it had to be called back in. That's for Ford.
That didn't have to do with each other, or else it would have been in the same recall. So yeah,
Right.
these are independently separate problems of Ford. All right, I think Cowboy came up to do a little bit of the defense part of this. I sure hope not, but go for it, Cowboy.
Well, the only thing I will say for rednecks like myself who have to tow trailers and equipment, like, when is Toyota going to come out with a 1-ton where I can pull my 10,000-pound gooseneck trailer full of hay?
Hold on, let me do a little research. They might already have that going on because they've made some serious advancements.
Here's my question. Looking at that article, does this have to do with the microchips not being available during that time and re-engineering around that? Because remember when the lockdowns happened, we were having a microchip shortage. I'm just curious if one thing has to do with the other.
Nah. There's no. But for Cowboy, a Toyota Tundra, the towing capacity 8,300 to 12,000 pounds. So currently, your 10,000 pound load is taken care of.
No. So first of all, 10,000 pound trailer, that's empty. So then you add on there a 12,000 pound skid steer, or 14,000 pound mini excavator, or, you know, 10 or 15,000 pounds worth of hay. So, we're looking at 25,000 pounds loaded. It's
Does
got to be a
Toyota
good
make
thing.
any commercial vehicles at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think they sell them in the U.S.
Yeah, I think you're stuck with the stuff that's going to break, my friend.
Oh, I know all about that. My Ford, I've got a 2017 F350, and man, they leak diesel like crazy. The fuel filter, it's this cheap ABS plastic, and about every 20,000 miles, that thing cracks, and I have to replace it. And
Just get a better one. Fuel isn't exactly different for every car, so if it's getting filtered, you're going to be in good shape. Just buy an aftermarket.
yeah,
I'm just trying to save you money and hood time, my friend. You admitted you owned a Ford. I've got to help you where I can.
I still want a Cybertruck. Yes,
Hey,
I know it's ridiculous, but I still want one.
with the Cybertruck, if you're looking to cross any rivers, it's actually supposed to be a temporary boat. So for a day out on the lake, you just drive your Cybertruck into the water. Yes, this is something Elon said. So you could cross streams, lakes, and even, what did he say? Sea. You could cross the sea if needed. Okay. Um, I'm going to take my electronic lithium battery that, if it should so happen to get a drop of water, will vaporize on the water.
I love seeing videos of those container ships where salt water gets into the batteries, right? And the whole like top of the container ship is just fire blazing out of Connex boxes.
And no, your fire extinguisher will not put that one out, my friends. And the water will just make it go faster. So, yes, disavow the trips on the lake. But Cybertruck, awesome. I love the look of it just because it's totally different. It's like the DeLorean SUV. I just want the flux capacitor. Let's go.
This
Will
is
it
one of
even
those.
do 88 miles per hour? I'm going to look it up.
This is one of those moments where I feel the need to defend like some of the legacy brands and hope we save them, because Ford Motor Company helped build the United States we all enjoy right now. And there's few vehicles in the history of our country that are more important, I think, than just the Ford F-150, cheap, dependable pickup truck that like every serviceman used for decades. Everybody's grandpa drove one in the 70s and 80s, right? My God, you can't afford to buy them at auction now, right? The pre-electronic ones. But I do feel like a mild urge to like, Ford, even if they were Nazis and did all that kind of stuff, or they suck now, I feel like we should remember what they did for us.
I can tell you an industry that would take off right now if someone started a small company to build combustible engines that you could retrofit a new vehicle with. I'm just putting it out there, just in case someone here in listener land needs an idea for a company that literally would take off like crazy right now. Just saying.
well, I'm in the market for a pre-2008 diesel. I'm actually considering selling my 2017 because when Obama got elected, his push was for clean diesel, so they started using diesel DEF. It's a diesel particulate fluid, it cuts down on the nasty black smoke that rolls out of diesels. But they've caused all kinds of problems. I mean, Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, all the ones that make 1 tons have had issues with the high pressure fuel pump, the DEF systems all the way around. They cause problems. And for years after that first came out, you could go to a diesel shop and get it what they call deleted, and you get all those parts removed. But the problem is with these computers that are on these trucks now, like you have to have software to make the truck run once it's deleted. And the EPA has really been cracking down on these guys who write this software. So a lot of shops won't even delete them anymore. So you just kind of got to deal with it.
You can buy a chip for any truck, but you're only going to be able to download one program because they don't want you using it for you and all your friends. In 2006, they started one level of emissions, and then later on, they made it worse. So if you can get one before 2006, you're even better. And those things get like 500,000 to 1 million miles. Very little rebuilding, especially if you get some of the bulletproof diesel motors. Like the late 98 Dodge was probably the last, I think, what was that, a Cummins? Yeah,
Cummins,
yep, that was the last, like, bulletproof.
Yeah, the 7.4 Ford was a good one, too. I like my 6.7. I mean, it's got plenty of power, but I'm sick of all the emission stuff on it. And another cool thing about those older diesels, you can make your own biodiesel if the shit hits the fan and run them.
Yeah, and to do that, all you need is about 2 tablespoons of moonshine and some old oil. Let it sit for about 4 hours, pour it straight in. Done.
Yep. I've got an old 10,000 watt Lincoln diesel stick welder, but it's a 10,000 watt generator. So that's what whenever we lose power, I run my house off of. But it's an old school Cummins diesel. So if shit hits the fan and I need power, I can run biodiesel in that. But I'm looking for a truck that I can run biodiesel in.
You and everyone else, cowboy.
You'd think somebody would at least come up with an aftermarket engine, like Jen was saying, for the diesels. Like, screw the gas cars, but the diesel for sure. I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie, but there's a dude on YouTube who took like a little Ford Ranger or whatever, and he hooked up a Predator lawnmower engine, the ones you buy at Harbor Freight, to the torque converter and drove his little truck around. Another guy took an electric motor out of a forklift and put it in his truck. He built like a flywheel plate, welded it together, put it right on the torque converter. It was pretty insane. He had gears and everything.
I'm going to need that link. I got to share that because we work on the Predators. We have the little mini bikes. So we little mini bike engine stuff we do around here. So yeah, I know he'd get a kick out of that.
I get a Predator for every engine that blows. I'm like, oh, look, the Subaru engine blow on the go-kart. Okay, $119. Done.
Has anyone ever heard of that mule engine that they used to have way back in the day with settlers or whatever during the Industrial Revolution? But they used to be able to take like tallow that they would harvest off of animals and run them in these engines to run like blacksmith shops and all sorts of things. It's old technology, but it actually ran off of tallow or pretty much anything, bacon fat. I mean, anything you could put that had oil in it, you could run on it.
Hey, I popped up here to give cowboys some advice to go get a glider kit, either from Fitzgerald or Harrison out of Wisconsin. That's where I got mine, Harrison. Then you can get away from all this emissions crap, and you don't have to worry about the way your engine runs because it's going to work, period. And did anybody see the guy that took a lawnmower carburetor and put it on a 302 in a Maverick and could do 70 miles an hour going down the highway and get 40 miles to the gallon? Yep, it happened.
Yeah, I saw that.
By the way, I have a 98 Dodge Cummins diesel, so nana, 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 nana.
Well, that is a unicorn, my friend. That's the holy grail of diesel trucks, in my opinion. And I'm a
5.9.
Ford guy.
5.9, right?
Hoorah! But I got the 24 valve, which is kind of like the electronic age. Like it's right at the 98 was the year that they changed from mechanical to electronic 24 valve. You want the 12 valve if you want to run your bacon fat in it, but 24 valve doesn't take it quite so easily. But I'm the odometer's clicking over. It's got approximately 500,000 kilometers on it, so whatever that is in miles. But yeah, it's good to go. Every
Yeah,
day.
that ain't even broke in.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm keeping it pristine.
My cousin has one. He deleted everything he could. He put in his own gauges because everything's just screw in. Like the block's already got the freaking places to just screw in all the temperature sensors and everything you want. Yeah, those
Right.
are awesome motors.
Used in just about everything. Generators and cats and swathers. They got a 4-cylinder one they use in a swather as well that could be used as a small diesel engine in any kind of vehicle, really. But
Just don't blow
4-cylinder.
your shift actuator. It's going to cost you $5,000.
Standard. Go standard.
Oh, really? Nice. All right, now I really like your truck. But you're in Canada, so it's probably a rust bucket. Let's get real.
Hell no. I'm out there every day with WD-40 getting all the rust off.
No, actually, lithium grease will stop it from rusting.
I don't really care about the body so much, but yeah, I'm with you.
Coat your underbody with fluid film every year, and it won't rust.
Fluid
Or
film's
just
really
let the
good, but
leaks go from the power steering and coat the bottom of the vehicle and the vehicle behind you.
No, the fluid film is good stuff, but it will collect like dirt and grime, and you'll eventually want to wipe it off and put it back on. With the lithium grease, it actually affects the like electrolysis of the metal because you're grounding your car to it, and that actually is what gets a lot of the rust going. So this actually like prevents a lot of that too.
Or we could just wash our trucks. I'm a mechanic and I promote washing your vehicle a lot, like as much as you can, because I don't like eating dirt.
He's talking about bodies. Jeff, you shared something. What was this Goldman Sachs? The Goldman Sachs analyst, John Castick. Is that right? He was found in a barrel? Is this the guy?
Don't worry, Bishop. Goldman Sachs analysts often turn up dead in barrels in waterways. I'm sure this happens all the time.
In Newton Creek in New York City.
Was he suicidal?
Okay, here we go. The very next line I'm going to read for you guys. Here, I'll read the whole thing. Breaking. The body was found in the waters of Newton Creek in New York City. Turned out to be the missing Goldman Sachs analyst, John Castick. Goldman Sachs has donated millions to the Clinton Foundation. Also, I can't even keep... Do I need to keep reading?
People forget, all of us knew this story, that when Hillary was running in 2015, someone instantly turned up like, what have you been saying to Goldman Sachs, right? Like, what do you say to them and why do you get paid so much when you go talk to them? And it became a huge stink, right? And it was sticking. It was coming from the mainstream media. Like, Hillary, tell us what do you say to Goldman Sachs? And I think that the more news I read about this dead body, the more people I see who want this to be an Arkancide, right? That somehow this kid's death has something to do with Hillary.
Oh, wait, hold on. Now, it was, a week and a half ago, I think it was Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, died in a car accident? Like, this is just like a weekly thing now?
Yeah, that was JP Morgan.
That's why I didn't, commit to the whole Goldman Sachs. All right, I'm going to see what Tap has to say. It's always more intellectual than me.
Whatever. I'm pretty stoked about the idea of reaching some sort of level of wealth, of influence, where I can just be annoyed with someone. Maybe it's at the Ford dealership where they're trying to tell me that it's better than Chevy, and I can just make them disappear and show up one day in a barrel. So please like and retweet the space. Buy the cookbook. Help us get to the follow us on Spotify and Rumble. Help us get to the point where we are so powerful that we have barrel money.
That's a new definition to fuck you money. I mean, fuck you money was like from the movie The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg. That was one thing, but this is really like, no, fuck you money.
Also, I've never
Hey,
known a Toyota owner to show up in a barrel. Just saying.
Toyota is actually more American.
they have half the Toyota pickup trucks you see on the road today have a Texas flag on them.
That's like American plus one. American to the second power. That's like American. From Texas, that's American.
Dad, why don't we buy American cars? Well, son, or whatever the fuck your gender is nowadays, back in the day, your great-grandfather had to go over to Japan and fight in the ocean along the way there because they were being mean. And we kicked their ass. And instead of like conquering them like empires used to do, we left some troops there and we told them to build us electronics and cars for the near future. And they've done that very well. And so the reason that we do this is we are an empire. And that's the advantage of having an empire, is collecting goods and services from all across the world and using our influence to shape how those are delivered and what they look like. And so really, son, you got to remember that it's not a Japanese car. It's an American car because the sun never sets on the American empire.
They do make the best dirt bikes. You cannot name an American dirt bike company. So, go Japan.
So does it say when this young man disappeared? When he went missing?
He was on a test drive for the new Ford Lightning.
Not in this article, it doesn't.
I mean, I'm seeing this timestamp of 2016. Man, he's been gone a while. Sam, I see you got an article from Politico on the judge. What was your takeaway on that one?
Well, it's important to remember that judges are assigned randomly. So the fact that Jack Smith gets to bring his case in front of Judge Chutkan is kind of interesting. She's the one most of us in here have heard her mentioned more than once because she issues the steepest January 6th uh, sentences, and she issued one where she talked at great length about the difference between a president and a king. And it sort of made the news, right? That this judge in DC was saying that Donald Trump thinks he's king and he needs to be reminded he's a president. But that this lady, it's at least curious that somehow randomly they drew the most favorable judge in the district.
Randomly, quote unquote.
Yeah, how is that random process done where they're selected randomly? Like if it's not with bingo balls, in the bingo cage and stirring that, or, multi-sided dice from Dungeons and Dragons, I just don't trust it.
Bingo! Was that a plug, Jen? Was that a lead into a plug? Check out Jeff's merch store from the Punchbowl.space, where you can pay $2 for a copy of some bingo cards that you can print out that are specific to spaces. That's right. Is Aaron talking over someone? Has someone talked for over 3 minutes? Did someone change the space to talk about spaces? Buy the Punchbowl Punchbowl PDF or bingo cards. What the hell am I selling? For only $2, and download the PDF and print out the cards over and over. Play them on a day where you're just bored, like today. And if you happen to get bingo, come off mute and yell bingo and tell us what you got. The Punchbowl bingo cards, available for $2 only. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
I'll sweeten the deal. And this is I like looking at Politico because the guys who publish Politico are just they're so connected to DC that if they say something, I think you want to listen. And they'll even point out this woman is a naturalized citizen. She's from Jamaica, and her whole life has been in two locations pretty much. She went to school at George Washington University, which most people don't even know is right in the heart of the wealthiest area in DC. It's one of the most expensive. It's I think it is still the most expensive university in the country. Then she went to the University of Pennsylvania, which Joe Biden couldn't get into, but he has a multi-billion dollar, right, endowment center at the University of Pennsylvania. And then she just happened to work for the law firm Boyce Schiller and Flexner that also had on its payroll a young man named Hunter Biden, right? And she spent the rest of her life just sitting over trials in the District of Columbia. And she it's like if they had tried to create a judge in a laboratory to punish uh, Donald Trump to sit over this trial, they could not have made a better one.
Yeah, it was an Obama appointee, you said, right?
For sure, for sure. I mean, if you wonder who appointed a bunch of naturalized citizens from Jamaica to our federal bench, I mean, not like I have anything against Jamaica, but I'm like, isn't there anybody else we could use in these positions? You usually can point at that administration.
Daffy?
Well, it's not on topic, so I don't know if I should wait.
Bingo. Kidding.
No. Okay. I started thinking last night about the lottery. The lottery is ran by the government. I think we should pay attention to who's winning the lottery because I think that might be something that's pretty much set up. And I'm kind of thinking that might be leaning toward this election fraud. Just saying. I broke it. I broke the room.
Well, if anybody's in Pennsylvania, there's been an alligator spotted in a river in Kiski Township, Armstrong County. So, if you're out there hanging out with your kiddos, just remember there's an alligator in Pennsylvania somewhere.
So some dude who, maybe sell some things to people illegally lost his illegal pet. Because that's what it usually comes from.
Or didn't want it and flushed it.
Or was using his own product one night and decided, freedom for you.
I think we should also consider the possibility that someone might have been out for a late night jog and aliens came by and turned him into that. And he's seen as a missing person, and his family misses him desperately, including his 2 and 3 year old daughters who have been asking, "Where's Daddy?" every night. But yet we make fun of it here on the Punchbowl Town Square, and I think it's disappointing because we have to remember, we have to have empathy that that's still a man that's trapped in a crocodile or alligator's body. I forget which one was mentioned. And so we must have empathy. And it's important that we like and retweet and especially quote tweet the space this morning and remember and honor of that. And I, for one, am thankful that I am not a sentient crocodile who used to be a man while trying to figure out what is right in life and knowing that it's wrong to eat people, but knowing that it's really the only thing that is there, and still knowing that I miss my 2 and 3 year old daughters, and knowing that if I ever did find my way home, that they would be absolutely terrified by what Daddy is now, because he is no doubt a monster. Please like and retweet the space.
I don't know about the rest of you, but every time I see a reptile or an amphibian that's sort of oddly out of place, right, I make sure to kiss it just in case it is someone that's been cursed by a genie or some sort of forest spirit like tat. Because I'm very concerned that there are, reptiles and amphibians everywhere that have been cursed. We look at them and don't understand, and you could take time, stop what you're doing, and just kiss it right on its face where its teeth are just to make sure that it is not some cursed human because You could feel. I felt the pain in what you were saying, Tap.
Thank you. Just a little pop kiss. Just a little, you know.
So hold up. Tap, what you're saying is some aliens are flying in our atmosphere, getting all drunk on our oxygen, and they're like, bro, I got an idea. Let's take a dude and make him an alligator. Why? Because. Is that what you're saying?
I'd do it if I had that power. Like, I do it all the time. Like, we'd be in spaces, someone would piss me off, I'd be like, fuck you, you're an alligator now. Bam. Shouldn't have talked over me.
Daffy.
Well, I think an alligator would give him too much power. I'd make him something like a skunk, or that's power too. I don't know. I went to. There's no quote available at the bottom of the page. There's just retweet. I think they took the quote option, or at least on mine, it's gone. I don't know if your guys. I woke up also, my screen's black. I kind of like it, so I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, it's dark mode as the default, and it's repost and probably going to be quote post from now on.
It's definitely there this morning. We've got 4 quote tweets, 27 reposts, and 28 likes. So thank you everyone that's done that. And that's about half of the room. So I know a lot of people have the phone in their pocket, that sort of thing. So it's cool. We get it. But we actually do have the comment bubble below. And of course, in a little bit, you'll see Tap posting like 30 different things, like check out our website, check out our Discord, check out this thing you can buy, check out this thing you can buy. Did you see this? Did you see this post? Also, for the Punchbowl TM, we're starting to put out more content under that, including long form write up. Yesterday, we took the indictment, ran it through ChatGPT, asked it a bunch of questions because I believe it was 47 pages of text, and did a long form write up on that, also breaking down the laws. So you'll see more stuff like that. So please set a reminder. Go to the Punchbowl TM account that's hosting the space. Enable notifications for tweets. And if you like the Punchbowl, one of the things that you can do is drive our engagement, like, comment. And if it's an issue, we're looking to converse. So, like, on that indictment or whatever, if you're like, what do you think, Kevin? Or what do you think, Bishop or Tap? Tag us, and that's going to drive us an opportunity to engage on those topics. So let's start talking about some of these news articles we post. Anyway, set a reminder for the Punchbowl TM.
Thanks, Tap. Bishop, I'm actually interested in this little IRS thing, the way you have it worded.
Oh, 1 second.
Because you have the word property in there, and I'm like, ugh. So they're going after crypto?
Yeah, so basically, let me get back where it's at. Reason I have it there is because of the fact that, and that's out of the article itself, so I didn't write it. Let's not take credit, plagiarism. But this doesn't tell you that they want to control every aspect of your finances. So the United States top tax authority, the Internal Revenue Service, has issued a new ruling clarifying the treatment of income earned via staking crypto. According to the revenue ruling 2023-14, cryptocurrency staking rewards, along with all other forms of income, including money, property, and services, are now considered gross income and must be reported as such in the year they were received. I don't know. That it's beyond overreach now. You know, and a lot of people jumped into crypto because it was a way of not being monitored, right? So this is the first step of being monitored for sure, right?
It's a good thing to talk about, Bishop. Jeff, can we throw crypto or something in the title and get some crypto bros in here so we can get some perspective from them? Because I'd imagine we know it's huge on X, Twitter bros everywhere. If they got to pay taxes on it now, what's that going to do through their culture, their businesses, their Discords, all the things they've set up here on X?
They're going to get taxed.
Now, here's the thing. I pay taxes on my money. See, the idea that someone has to pay taxes on their shit money That just makes me happy, because if I'm getting fucked, I want other people to get fucked too. But I still believe tax is theft. What do y'all think?
I think we should be taxed more, and that we were all happy in the 70s, and that's because the marginal tax rates were higher. It was much more difficult to become a billionaire, although if you needed to, you could become a millionaire. But even though I suck at math, I feel like if we begin to look at the number of dollars that a million is, and you wonder, well, how does somebody need comfort that exceeds that level? Or should we worry about that? I don't know. Like that, I'm worried about that person. I don't think there should be a law against them, but I'm worried at someone who needs that many dollars, because I think like you're like a dragon living in a hollow mountain on a pile of gold, and there's a story about you and why you're bad for everyone.
I think that's why they wanted the 87,000 more IRS. They're going to go after all the crypto people that's made money since it started.
And I'll say this, Samuel. I didn't realize that a lot of the crypto was not being taxed. In other words, had I been actually aware of that, I might have actually played it the last couple of years, because part of my thing is I'm always thinking, like, all right, 30% after selling, like government and all that, that sort of thing. That changes how you operate. I don't know. I don't know this morning.
I'm going to say this. I'm poor, so nobody should think I know anything about finance, but when I look at crypto spaces, because there's so many of them, and anyone on spaces knows that, right? Like no matter what your social circle's like on X, like you're going to see spaces that are crypto. The amount of emojis they use to express themselves and the profile pictures those people exist under give me the heebie-jeebies. And I just can't imagine there was any sort of financial system that's worth paying attention to that involves that many emojis. I don't get it.
You've never seen all the emojis I send my wife on the day when we get paid and our taxes are taken out.
Now, is this article just on crypto staking? Because if that's the claim, then staking's kind of like investing in the stock market, but going for the unrealized gains is horrible. But when you're staking, are they unrealized? Do you get what I'm saying, guys? Bishop, it's your article. Because I'm not sure I have a problem with them going after specifically crypto staking. But as for where your crypto is being held and your privacy, I think that's a whole separate discussion. But if you're invested in crypto staking, which means you put it in and you gain percentages on it like an investment, it should be treated like an investment. It's what it is.
Yeah, I definitely need some more clarification, because I mean, it sounds like, so if a cash method taxpayer stakes cryptocurrency native to proof of stake blockchain and receives additional units of cryptocurrency as rewards when validation occurs. Whose mic's open?
007. Your mic. Thanks.
Rewards when validation occurs, the fair market value of the validation rewards received is included in the taxpayer's gross income. So it's like as soon as they gain something, it's not even like in their hand. They're going to be taxed.
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
good.
That's good. Just like the end of the stock market. Like if you're in the stock market and you're day trading, there's penalties for that as opposed to long-term investing. It's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with that. If they're not messing with your crypto, tracking you or your wallet, or getting involved in your privacy, and they're just doing it on crypto investments, then I'm all for that.
I know that people who create vast, unexplainable stores of wealth devalue your wealth. Like, say you're a normal person with $1, all of these machinations in our economy where someone suddenly creates all this wealth, right? We always bitch about the Federal Reserve sort of creating the idea that you could just make wealth and that it's limitless. That devalues every dollar in your wallet. And I feel like those crypto folks, they've done more to destabilize the idea of currency in the last 6 months to a year than anything ever since the history of currency.
The guy who invested a couple $1,000s and ended up supposedly getting 8 billion from Shiba Inu, that guy should have paid taxes on his realized gains whenever he cashed out. Tax, tax, tax. You know why? Because that's what's building rows. If everybody's gonna frickin' go into crypto and we're gonna switch over completely and nobody's getting taxed the way they should, then shit's not gonna run the way it should. Money makes the world go round, and if you're, you can go live in a country that doesn't tax you that way. You have $8 billion. Go move. Don't be American. Bye.
Yeah, so I think probably if someone came in, they're probably more upset about the oversight, because Congress is getting involved now. Let's see what's this says.
Bishop, I feel like the fact that Nancy Pelosi's not heavy on crypto tells you that it's not a good investment.
I suggest you get tinfoil in here, and I guarantee you the government knows anybody that bought crypto, how much, when, and all the above. That is a fact.
Yes, except for the fact that if I take my crypto wallet and hand it to you with the password with all the money on it, they don't know you have it. They think I have it, if they knew that. When I physically hand you the access, they won't know. So I just transferred wealth. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they will go after the person that shows having the wallet, and that person will give you up.
So here's the language. The industry is desperate The industry is desperate for U.S. regulations that allow it to cast off investor uncertainties and take its place as a mature, fully functional part of the economy. To get that, instead of accelerating the legal fight it's waging with regulators, crypto needs new laws that define how it should work and which agencies should be doing what.
I don't agree with that second half, or that very last statement you just said. That's a little bit
Yeah,
much.
I had to read the body to get to that. That's exactly what that's exactly why I read it.
So if you go back and start looking at the wars we were involved in and the banking systems in those countries, you'll realize that they don't like it when you're not a part of the banking system at all. Kuwait, Iraq, Libya. You could just literally go down the list, and those were. You can go back to Germany for World War II if you really want to get way back. That's exactly what he was trying to get rid of, and then you can even tie that into JFK and Lincoln. Both wanted to get rid of that same banking system. So this isn't something that they take lightly. They're going to take control of everything.
So you remember I read way back when they were talking about this, and they didn't know going to the World Bank, the centralized bank, a digital currency, right? And then the speculation back then was that they didn't know if the existing cryptocurrencies would coexist. So this is kind of saying that it's still going to be there for the minute, but it's going to get deeper.
I say it should be treated like the stock market. If you're investing it and you do short term, you should pay short term. If you do long term, you should pay long term. It's our system that's in place now, guys. Your pensions are all based on it. The companies you work for, if you don't have pensions, they're based on it. It's just how it is.
I think the word in here that's really getting me is bipartisan.
Because the other Republicans and the Democrats, they agree that if there's money being invested and profited, that there's a tax system. Income is defined very clearly in the IRS tax code. If you were to make income, that is what you are liable for. If not, go move to Dubai or wherever you would like to that you think has better tax laws. Go there.
This is like them coming in and kicking your door in, and all your efforts of volunteering and rendering services that you have stuffed in your mattress, and then they come in and take your fucking mattress. That's where I'm at.
Does the IRS currently do that?
because it wasn't reported. I'm saying that they want everything reported, and it's just leading down a dark path in my view.
I'm thinking third-party reporting. So, like, if you go onto an investment site, they would report those transactions, but you should still have the privacy of your own wallet and everything like that, I would think. So they shouldn't be reporting or recording on like the blockchain or whatever. They should be doing it through the investment site. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Robinhood and all those other ones.
Correct. Just like the stock market. It just makes sense. Like, why would there be this one business you could get involved in, you know?
But if I'm not understanding, then because what I'm reading is that in the stock exchange, your money goes up and down, right? You know, and there's a gain there, but you didn't withdraw all the money. Well, you've got cryptocurrency. This what it sounds like here is that it's gaining money, and they want you to tax off that gain, which you don't even have it in your hand. If I'm understanding this correctly,
it's called unrealized capital gains.
Correct. If it was realized gains, meaning you've cashed out, I agree. If it's unrealized, I completely disagree. Let's see what Al has to say. He popped up here for this convo.
So I buy Bitcoin, but I have my own Trezor device, so it's unrealized. So I'm a little puzzled because, like Bishop was just saying, if you're in the stock market, like a 401k or something like that, you know, your money fluctuates up and down, but you don't actually get taxed on it until you actually withdraw the money. So there has to be more to this because I don't see how they can actually tax you on an unrealized gain. That makes absolutely no sense, you know, because Bitcoin fluctuates every single day. So one day, you know, it might be at 30,000. The next day, it might be at 26,000, which means your value goes up and down as well. So how can they actually tax you on something you don't physically have in your possession? The only thing I have is a Trezor device with 24 steps to a password. You know what I mean? So not like I have a lot of money in it, but it's just something I play with because I like numbers. But that seems absolutely ridiculous to me. I mean, if that's the case, then they're going to start, you know, taxing our 401ks and everything else on our unrealized gains. I mean, that's going a little bit too far, I think.
Okay, well, the horrible part is the second sentence. So the first sentence says, according to the revenue ruling 2023-14, cryptocurrency staking rewards. That's what they're going after, the staking, which I agree with. But then there's a little bit of a long dash, and it says, along with all other forms of income. And like I said, income is clearly defined in the tax code, but then it says including money, property, and services are now considered gross income and must be reported as such in the year they were received. So received means you took them, I'm assuming, but you can't assume when it comes to law. It's black and white. But like I said, income is clearly defined in the tax code, so it's not crazy to think that they would go after the staking. Danae, I believe you're next.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, guys. I am curious, just in past history, how a monopoly was kind of created over new movements, if that makes sense. And having Bitcoin and then now seeing how the CBDC is being rolled out, it almost seems like this is speculation, but it almost seems like they're moving in the direction that they've moved in before when they haven't previously had full control over something. And that's by creating their own stuff, stifling down, the cryptocurrencies as it's going. And then once they've got their stuff up and running, for example, the CBDC, and then people scanning and signing up for it. Now they're taking the direction of, all right, well, now that we've got our stuff established, now we can start going after you. And that's where I do get concerned, is because I'm thinking, okay, now what are they going to put into place for those who have, like Al said, for those who have, their stuff? Like, Bitcoin in and of itself was created so that the government couldn't immediately go in and grab it. From what I've learned from it, I have the Bitcoin, but I don't have that device. I have it stored with its own keys and stuff. But it just makes me wonder, what is the IRS going to do? What is FedNow or the government going to do when they, like, they can freeze your assets, right? Because they use the banks for that. Oh, so and so didn't pay this. Let's put a lien on their stuff. Let's freeze their assets. How do they do that? In the cryptocurrency case, that's my question.
Well, they already do that. And the fact that they can't with crypto in every form that's the allure. That they aren't supposed to be able to yank it from you.
I'd just be curious to see what they're going to do and who they're going to use as an example. Like, oh, such and such, was monopolizing on the crypto, and now we're going to freeze their assets, and then it's going to be in the media. Sorry.
They're already going after the one guy. The guy, the guy who spent like outrageous amounts of money on luxury items, heavyset guy. They showed him yesterday. He was going around. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But yeah, they're already going after the kings, the guys who got the big paychecks.
That's wild. So. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate y'all.
Alrighty. No, I appreciate you coming up. I'm going to go on to Samuel.
Yeah, I got to say, from my perspective, crypto looks like a scam run by unreliable people. But to the point of Bishop's article, it should worry all of us. Taxing capital gains has been the favorite animal of progressive folks since modern economies began. And it's also been the most protected portion of our economy here in the United States and other Western nations, where people who have these tremendous amounts of wealth protect that wealth that makes wealth, and they don't want you taxing it. And I think what you might see happening here is the crypto people are so sort of fly by wire that they are going to get picked on, and people are going to start taxing these unrealized capital gains, and it'll provide precedents for moving forward to go at sort of traditional capital gains. But I wouldn't invest in crypto until Nancy Pelosi does.
I just DM'd that to you, Danae.
I was going to say, I think a UBI will be digital, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. What better way to get you to take part in the system than to make you completely dependent on UBI and then making it digital? Going back to the people getting busted for crypto, it was a Mario Nawfal tweet. SEC charges flamboyant Hex founder Richard Hart for misappropriating millions in $1 billion crypto raise. So they are going after the crypto guys. Yeah, I wonder if there's an actual write-up of the law that we could read and actually see the wording, because when you're doing stuff like that, you have to look up the legal definition. What's the legal definition of the word received? What's the legal definition of the word income? Then you can start to decipher it.
This makes me want to look up exactly what's happening with the old Bankman-Fried guy. What charges have been dropped?
The corporate ones. The ones that Discovery would involve other people getting arrested.
I thought they dropped the campaign finance charges, but not the other deeper stuff.
Yet. I think he had, 10 to start or something, and they dropped 6. I don't know. But either way, they're going to slowly work the deals out with the people that it needs to be worked out, because they don't want to get anybody in trouble that would be included in this. If they have to run discovery on certain charges, then they're going to get into people's banks accounts and they're going to know, hey, oh wait, this person got this money, that person got that money. So they don't want those charges going forward. And the ones that they do that would come close to that, they'll reduce so that they stay 2 levels away from involving anybody.
So is that clown still sitting at home with an ankle bracelet?
You mean his parents' $63 million home or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it was,
yeah.
$16 million?
That he helped
Yeah.
them pay for, you mean? Yeah.
No,
One.
that's his bail. That's his collateral. He has to show up to court or that house goes bye-bye.
He was released.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully he found the gym, shaved his head, got rid of that fur ball he was walking around with, cleaned himself up, got some sun.
I think it was all set up to initiate the whole regulation of crypto, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Bishop. I
Let's,
think it was
yeah,
literally the create the problem to give the solution.
just a little bit of context that helps this argument. Please remember who his parents were, who her parents are, right? Like his professor at MIT happens to be Gary Gensler, who runs the agency that's going to do the Bitcoin stuff. Is it his father that's a professor at the college in California where a lot of this economic noise is coming from? It really is mildly suspicious that somehow the largest cryptocurrency criminal in recent memory is yet connected to some of the most esteemed, important positions of power in our university and our economy.
I can imagine when the Bitcoin came out as a thousandth of a penny, they probably started freaking out.
I'm looking right now at how the SEC runs audits on cryptocurrency, and it's kind of fascinating. But yeah, I kind of want to know how they get in there and they actually, see who's doing all the bad stuff, to where I see Jeff sent me this. So I'm trying to figure out how they got that information right now on the article that Jeff sent me.
When you raise $1 billion, some of the people that gave you that money are pretty good at tracking where it goes.
Yeah. No, I know the obvious, but like I want to get into like how they got into his blockchain, if that makes sense. It's all it's stuff that I'm pretty confused on, but I got Bitcoin for the sake of hoping that if I made enough that they wouldn't freeze my shit because I pissed them off, if that makes sense.
Do you know who CoffeeZilla is?
No.
Okay, he's a YouTuber. If you were to go on there, all right, so you can trace transactions to a wallet, not knowing who the wallet belongs to. And then you can also make inferences by the donation amounts. And then you can kind of say, okay, so this person raised $1 billion in this chunk of time. What account raised this much money? So if you watch CoffeeZilla, he will actually trace Jake Paul and Logan Paul's journey through a crypto scam they did. And it's pretty bad. It's a 2 or 3 part series. He did a great job. But yeah, if you want to see how it works, right there. CoffeeZilla.
Thank you.
I was going to say, back in the day, remember they had to give a monetary worth to printed coupons in the newspapers. So they had to be worth so much in order to be utilized. And it's kind of funny. Now we have 0 printed coupons, so there is no money that's worth. It's like a digital coupon. And it's not like you could collect those and, get a penny for like 1,000 of them.
It doesn't matter because our actual currency is now worthless.
True enough. What is it? It's an IOU on debt, right? That's how our nation works.
Yeah, you're holding debt, not capital. It even says this is a debt note on it, I believe. It's early in the day, but I could check.
I still have a silver certificate. They were small, like they're way smaller than a normal dollar bill. But my with my grandpa's like coin collection, he had a silver certificate. That does not say it's debt. It says I can turn that in for that much worth of silver.
Until a certain date, you could. I think it was in the 70s. They set a deadline.
I have boxes of that stuff, Jen. Mint State.
Nice.
eBay that shit. People still collect them.
I don't use eBay.
But you
Somebody
better
get
learn.
Jeff on eBay. Yeah, somebody hook his eBay up so he can post those.
I don't like the charges eBay charges. I use other forms.
Facebook Marketplace. There's
Yes,
no
sir.
charges. Yeah,
I'm
that's what
already.
I use.
I've been an admin in a half dozen groups on Facebook. So
Yeah, same here. If you're going to sell something like that, through my experience, you're better off grouping it up. So don't try and sell one, try and sell 10. People want it to be worth their trip. Some people will drive. For us, we've had people drive 2 hours to come get something because we sell a lot of like antiques and nostalgia items. So people they're like, oh my God, there's the table from my childhood, or there's the cigar ashtray from my childhood, like random shit from estate cleanouts. But yeah, I would group them up, 5 of them, 10 of them, all of them, make more than one post. That's what I would do. And they go faster that way.
I got my camper off of eBay or off of Facebook Marketplace. I got my boat Facebook Marketplace. I got my rototiller Facebook Marketplace. We got a lawnmower Facebook Marketplace, all for probably about 25% of what the new price would be.
I've sold sheets of uncut $2 bills. I've sold silver. I've sold a lot of stuff. And if you're selling something of value, like people are like, oh, I'm all sketched out. Go to your bank and meet them in the lobby. There's cameras everywhere and there's a security guard with a gun. Like, if you're really sketched out, just go to your nearest bank and say, meet me inside the bank. And then just tell them to meet you and show up 10 minutes early so that you're there first. And there you go. All done. Deposit the money before you even leave the building. Walk away.
That is a brilliant plan. Brilliant.
Yeah, if you're selling a PlayStation or some Jordans, like, that's a must.
Shoot, some of the stuff I go pick up, people are like, yeah, I got my Ring camera on, just put the money like in my mailbox and it's on my porch. Like, I don't know. I don't know why people are so sketched out. Am I going to go down into Detroit by myself in some areas and go pick some shit up? No, ain't going to do that. Sorry, I don't even look at stuff with the address of Detroit. If you live in Detroit, I ain't looking at your stuff. Just saying. Just saying, people, it's not happening. But, places that are close to me, I've never had an issue at all. I don't know. It's more on the person who's actually selling it that's going to have the issue. Now you know where they live, right? Like, I don't know. Just funny. People are funny these days.
Look, Jen, if you really do find something in Detroit that you're like, man, I gotta get that, and you need people to go with you, I'll call my cousins, okay? I'll call them and have them ride with you. Just give them like $5. They'll protect you.
Yeah.
Selling some Jordans in the police station lobby.
No, honestly, so they list a lot of stuff, and it's most of the time they're scams. It's a bait and switch. They do it a lot. That's why I just ignore if it says Detroit, because that's where a lot of scammers on Facebook are doing the bait and switch for, like, they'll share like my aunt's email, da 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 da. Don't contact me here, and that's a scam. And we were looking for mini bikes, and we went down there one time because this guy, and he shows up with a whole different mini bike. We're like, no, F you. He's like, no, no, no. We're like, no, have a nice day. You already made us wait for 15 minutes. We're out. So we just not worth it. Not worth the time.
If someone asks me about an item and then they ask me if I take Zelle, I immediately delete their message because it's never been a real person in the history of Facebook Marketplace. You make a lot more money than you would at a yard sale, though. Like, if you have some decent stuff, some old antique dishes or some nice things, like, you'll do way better. I mean,
Yeah.
way better.
Jeff, I got a friend on Facebook who absolutely robs people just for old Pyrex. I'm not going to give him any, like you might expect me to be like, oh yeah, check him out, go to his marketplace, but I'm not gonna because he's evil. And he like drives around. His day job is to drive all over the state. And so what does he do? He stops in the little, main streets everywhere. He sees the Pyrex, he knows the Pyrex, and then he puts it on marketplace, and these ladies like he does battle with them. But in the end, what do? They pay $200 for like a chipped piece of Pyrex because it's the color they need to finish their set. Like I helped him sell a bunch of it, and the people who came to buy it frightened me, and I hated him. My friend, I mean, I love him, but I hate him at the same time.
Oh, I sell those yellow Pyrex bowls from the 70s for like $50. I've gotten 3 of them so far. It was very popular.
Not me wondering if I should look at Pyrex now. I don't even have Pyrex, but I know that Pyrex itch is real. Very real. You can get a lot of money just by going out and like if they're materialistic, you can go to Goodwill and you can find like legit made stuff and flip it super easily online. That's a hustle. That is a hustle. I remember I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I went to Goodwill and um I found some Coach stuff from like older Coach stuff, and I looked it up and I looked at the threading and I looked at all of it, and I got it for probably $25, and I resold that stuff for about $80-$90. It'll go quick if you market it to the right people. Um, but Zelle is one of those that I don't use, Jeff. I would only stick to Cash App. It just makes me think of like filing taxes and stuff though too. But I want to say I'm safe because I'm not making anything over like $300 to $600, so I'm good. I'm trying to get somebody in here for crypto though, because I do want to know more on that IRS stuff.
Me too, but I'm not a crypto person.
Yeah, I've got 2 DMs out. Hopefully, I was trying to get the Dragonfly in here. And another individual you guys never heard speak before. Told him to step out and smoke a cigarette or something. Step away from the desk. Because I mean, if we get somebody actually from one of the crypto spaces, they end up throwing a lot of language in there that's over our head.
Is anybody mutuals with Digital? Because I feel like he would be a useful voice here.
Tinfoil.
You should at them in the bubble, and I'll just retweet what you guys at and try to get them in.
I am zero help with any of that stuff. That's why I didn't even bother reading that article. It's all Greek to me.
I don't know how true it is, but there was a post going around about 2 weeks ago, and it said that if you translated Satoshi Nakamoto, it literally means Central Intelligence. So I don't know how true it is.
Who cares? That's too good to not like talk. It's delicious, that conspiracy.
Well, nobody's ever seen the guy. No one knows if he exists, which I'm sure he doesn't. What is there, 21 million coins or Bitcoin or something like that?
We got somebody down there listening that's blockchain toes. I can only imagine like folks that are doing the crypto, they're like, these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And we're saying, bring your ass up and let us know. Correct us.
Yeah, if you guys need me to drop down, just give me the boot so they can come up.
Nah, there's room. Those are valuable keystrokes. He's doing crypto trading right now, I'm sure.
Show me your keystrokes, bro. Sorry.
Well, we can move on. Hopefully they'll come in before 11. Anybody live in Illinois? Illinois? No hands? No takers? Well, it looks like I'll be boycotting your state. I'll be driving around it.
Me too.
Governor Pritzker allows foreigners to arrest U.S. citizens in shock law shakeup. And that was, this looks like it was January this year. Or no, it'll be January 1st, 2024. The bill was signed by the Democrat governor on Friday and will go in effect on January 1st, 2024, despite facing heavy opposition from GOP lawmakers and prominent police groups. It says the bill provides that an individual who's not a citizen but is legally authorized to work in the United States under federal law is authorized to apply for the position of police officer, subject to all requirements and limitations other than citizenship, to which other applicants are subject. HB 3751 reads, adding that non-U.S. citizens may be able to obtain, carry, purchase, or otherwise possess a firearm under federal law to apply for the job.
So
That's an embarrassment.
Explain to me how somebody can acquire a firearm that is not a U.S. citizen, even if they're temporarily here on visa or whatever. They're not U.S. citizens. So how does that equate?
It sounds like you guys are new to the Pritzker rodeo, and I want to say this. Quickly go and look at what JB and his cousin do with their family foundation, and it will frighten the hell out of you. Even looking at his cousin will frighten you because he's done things you didn't think were possible, like in recent history. Pritzker is a hotelier, right? Like his family owns, I think it's JW Marriott, or like he's an heir to one of those giant hotel thrones. And he has worried me deeply for a long time. And this kind of a move, Bishop, you see, like a governor who's willing to do this to his state, he seems like the kind of guy who gets the okay to move up in the world.
Okay, so
these states. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just jumping in.
Fine.
You know,
these people
Canadian.
are going to be from Mexico and Canada. This is Illinois, so it's closer to Canada. So these people using guns, for one, they don't even know what gun rights look like if they're from Canada. Not anymore, at least.
I get the back heat if I come down.
Just saying. We'll go to Mike T.
I think we're good with Donald for the day.
So, he just couldn't handle it.
So I came into the space and we were on Pyrex, and now we're on illegal aliens. Well, I guess authorized aliens now at this point, being police officers. My big question to that, does that mean that they can somehow get across the border with some sort of a claim of amnesty or they're being persecuted? They become a police officer, they work for the 20 years or whatever it takes to get the pension, and then go back across the border and continue to collect the tax dollars and into another country like that?
Isn't the real question, Mike, how is illegal immigration going to affect the Pyrex resale market?
I don't know. Do they use Pyrex?
Jay-Z taught a lot of people to use Pyrex.
Oh my God.
Sam, you're hurting my brain. There's a lot of commentary on this. Where's the comment from? The Fraternal Order of Police also condemned the bill after it passed in the Democratic-controlled state House earlier this month.
See, Bishop Pritzker's helping to create the North America that you've been warning us about. See, this is a nice, weird, quiet move where, as Jeff points out, he's going to allow Canadians and Mexicans to roam freely in Illinois, and that's step one in creating the North American political entity, whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah.
Union. North American Union, I believe.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Abbott posted something the other day about the numbers of where he sent all the migrants to, and I commented on there, And I said, you mean you mobilized them? Because Chicago, I want to say, is the second or third highest amount of immigrants that he bussed over.
Well, that mayor from New York City, what is it, Adams? He's freaking out, and he was like, "We're a sanctuary city," and now he's like, we can't take any more. No, no, no."
Well, that's the NIMBY thing. NIMBY, not in my backyard. You can bring in all the immigrants you want, just don't bring them to my, walled community.
So it also noted in that article that they have already downgraded any requirements. So they no longer require the 60 credit hours of college. I'm sure they took down some physical requirements. And I would just love to see what you actually have to do in order to be a police officer. And that was because it was, the recruitment efforts and the hiring efforts of police officers in that state are way down. No wonder, given the fact that is a police officer, when you arrest someone, it goes into the court system, and then you turn around and weird that you end up arresting them again the very next week. It's kind of weird. So maybe people stopped wanting to be a police officer when it was highly ineffective. I'm just saying.
Or when it was dangerous, because going through Chicago as a police officer in the last 3 years hasn't been the safest job.
Yep. All risk, no reward.
But this is typical of liberal policies. We've said this before in the space that you create a problem and then you exacerbate the problem to the point where the solution even furthers the original problem.
I agree. So what's going to happen is that the cities are not going to be able to fill their ranks with police officers, therefore probably going to have to go to the county for the sheriff, which is then going to implement these officers who are non-citizens. And yeah, you're going to have what, everybody's been fearing forever. I'm just saying that's my prediction of where this is the first step into that place.
I'm just saying that the guy is more likely to be named Jean-Luc than Jose. It is Illinois.
No, I live in one of the highest populations of Turkish people in Connecticut, my city. They could be immigrants from anywhere. So I don't want to be xenophobic about particularly where they come from. It's just the concept that once you open the Pandora's box of making an immigrant from anywhere, first generation, maybe doesn't even speak the language well because they're eliminating college courses, likely. I know they're lowering them here, and things like that. You're going to get a lower quality of person in the job to begin with, but you're also opening it up to, a free for all. They're specific to not be raised in there. So yeah, maybe their assumption is, oh well, they'll just be friendly Canadians or hardworking Mexicans. But what happens when they're in that?
So Canada's got an issue. They've got segments of their population. I don't know which town it is or what city or what, however you break Canada down, but they've got Sharia law. I think it's a door opening for Sharia law.
Well, yeah, it's a door opening for any law other than the Constitution and the God-given rights that we have. That's how I see it.
I think it's a weirder door than you all might suspect. I put a link down in the purple pill that kind of gives you some background on J.B. Pritzker, his cousin Jennifer Pritzker, who you definitely want to check out, and something they call synthetic sexual identities. And like, not only, I don't want to pick on Canada because Donald's not here to crap, but we all know that, as Bishop points out, Canada's much more tolerant of like a wide range of behaviors. And Pritzker, he doesn't care where you're from. In fact, he doesn't really think identity is something that exists at all. That's why I think this is one of those news articles that should lead a lot of us to a broader bit of research to see like what's going on under Pritzker in Illinois.
Well, one of the things that I've seen here in the Northeast, that bothered me years ago and is slowly turning into something now on a national level was when they started issuing these driver's licenses to illegal aliens or resident aliens or whatever. I mean, people who are non-citizens. And the argument at the time was, these people don't have insurance. They drive cars not registered and taxed and all this stuff. And to be honest with you, I noticed that. But now we have this whole concept of the real ID or whatever it is to fly. You got a TSA pre-check. You got to have a special driver's license. Why do I, the natural born citizen, the American citizen, why do I have to prove that I'm the American citizen with something other than the driver's license that I was always allowed to fly with? Because you decided you were going to give them out to people who weren't citizens. That's the stuff that bothers me. And it's the slippery slope argument over and over again. But let's face it, all slopes can be slippery.
Holy hell, Jennifer Pritzker looks just like J.B. Pritzker, like the
Now you see it, Bishop.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right? Like he's both of them, and one of them is just him in drag. And for anybody else out there in the town square who remembers those two dudes who made The Matrix, one of the most awesome things about it is they're both women now.
Oh.
Wow. So I've just been pink pilled.
The Wachowski brothers or whatever, they're both women now.
Pink pill. I can't believe that's even a thing now.
So they're going to be a mashup of The Matrix and Barbie, where Barbie is just a simulation.
Good grief. That's all I gotta say.
I hope Bishop isn't the only person that got to look at Jennifer Pritzker. I'm telling you, it'll help. It'll help wake you.
No, I looked at it too, and I just, kind of cringed.
I've been trying to avoid going to Google, but Sam, I think you're going to.
Mike, it's down in the purple pill. Go down. It's your duty to go down there and look at this monstrosity immediately.
Yeah, it is very Mrs. Doubtfire.
Have they been photoed together in the same room?
Take my point.
Dude.
Like, if you're worried about what Pritzker's doing with illegal immigrants, this guy is operating on a completely different dimension.
Oh my! I is on like 4D chess when it comes to. I wouldn't doubt that they are the same person. That's one of the mirror photographs with Photoshop.
Dude, that's a dude.
Wait, it is a dude. For anybody, I'm sorry. It is a dude. It's his cousin, and his cousin became a woman. And they fund this. Skim this article. For one, Tablet Mag is a great source of sort of longer form articles. You want to skim some of this. These people are dangerous, and they own hotels.
Dude, they must all sit at the same table and eat exactly the same food. I mean, something contributes to that chin.
I think
they're like a Tyler Perry family, but white.
The reptilian overlord DNA is just really strong.
These are not my people, Mike. Come on.
Hey,
the only one that knew what he looked like.
Well, we're going to move on real quick to this real quick. Remember we was talking about Yellow, the less than load carrier. We didn't really fully grasp the magnitude of that company closing its doors. Stalled shopping. Walmart and Home Depot face inventory problems after a major trucking firm shuts down, leading to 8,000 job losses.
All right, real quick, I just got to say the Pritzkers are the White Clump family. There we go. I'm done with that.
So Yellow, basically, Bishop was contracted by Walmart to do their trucking, right?
Yeah, So it looks like a Home Depot spokesperson. Yeah, so like JB Hunt, they also did a lot. I don't know if they still do, but they do a lot of Walmart and less. I don't think they particularly got less than load. Like a small trailer. But that's what's happened. They'll ship they can do the doubles, what do they call them, the tandem trucks. Drop one, and then another truck will take it to another destination. But Home Depot spokesperson told the U.S. Sun, "We have a large and diverse supply chain with a number of partners, so we're accustomed to being flexible and agile when there's disruptions. This type of flexibility is what allowed us to adapt and move." So just last year, Yellow saw a decline of roughly 34,000 shipments per day, as U.S. Sun previously reported. The company was sending 49,000 daily shipments. So
one of the things, Bishop, I think in listening to the space the other day, you worked in it at one point. That I see a proliferation of Amazon's own hardware running up and down I-95 here in Connecticut, and I think they're moving pretty much all of their freight that way. And then all of the small packages pretty much via the post office and their own trucks. So is it the market for what Yellow was doing uh, started to shrink, and Yellow was the weakest link in the chain there, and they went down first. But I can't imagine how much freight is tied up between all of their hubs on trailers in their right now. That's going to take weeks just to get that unloaded and cross docked to somebody else and delivered. It's going to put a huge ripple into the it's at least the less than
well,
They
yeah,
they stopped taking shipments 2 weeks ago. So all they were doing for the last 2 weeks is delivering.
Here's a piece that wasn't revealed the day of. The company's struggles were compounded by a steep drop in e-commerce shipments from early pandemic highs and an industry-wide decline in freight volumes over the last year. But it looks like the other group is Apollo, leads deal for trucking firm Yellow's bankruptcy loan. This is reported by Bloomberg. It says creditors led by Apollo Global Management are nearing a deal to provide Yellow Corporation with fresh cash during a coming bankruptcy. Bloomberg News reported, citing people familiar with the matter. So they said the shares of Yellow were at 78% at $3.14 in the afternoon trade.
Do we think this is going to put a bottleneck in the construction industry in terms of being able to, immediately go to like Home Depot or something and get something? Do we think the shelves are going to be empty for a little bit?
No, that's why I read that article from their comment from Home Depot, because they show maximum flexibility and they know how to handle it. So, but they're just saying that 8,000 people from Yellow were affected, but they were pointing out that Walmart and Home Depot are one of their contracts. There's no comment from Walmart.
So it's actually 30,000 people, and it's 90,000 shipments a day, and it's not 100% yet, but I think they're going to be gone. I don't think they're going to come out of this. And my thing is, I think we got to decide who's at fault here. We got a company that said that we got a union that says that the company's mismanaged, yet they did better in 2020 and 2021 than they did in 2008 and 2009. So they did better when the complete country was shut down than they did during a recession. I don't think you could do that with mismanagement. The union turned down their offer, wouldn't sign a 5-year contract, and that's why the banks wouldn't give them their loan to finance their billion-dollar debt that they've been financing for 20 years. So I don't know.
The big box stores may have had, and the e-commerce may have had something to do with the better profits, better operating revenues during the pandemic, because they, were receiving more shipments of that type than they were previous. But I agree, it's probably not mismanagement. it's just another indication of what the shutdowns did to the country.
And two more things. Number one, this is the owner-operator's time to shine. Don't let them brokers shortchange you. You know your value, and they're gonna pick up the slack, so the supply chain can withstand. But yeah, what we did to our country by just rolling over for this government and doing as they tell us to do, instead of going out and finding out exactly what to do to your own body to protect yourself from this. And yeah, we destroyed our country, and we're going to suffer the pain.
Sam, don't you think that the future of over-the-road trucking, at least I'm not a trucker, but I've always worked in had trucks or stuff, doing a lot of gas, anything like that. And I see it as the owner-operators banding together, so to speak, in some form of a I want to call it union, but a association like they already have, and expanding that. And then there being more brokers and more people just electronically handling the load planning and the billing and all of that. Because I had to ship a transmission to Illinois, ironically, last fall, and I just went online, found a broker place online, gave them what size weight was. They came up with a class of like 150 or whatever it was, and and then gave me prices with different carriers, and I chose the one that was closest to me because they were all within about $20 or $30 of it. And to me, that seemed like a much simpler process than me having to have an account with a regular carrier and paying for have a liftgate truck come pick it up. They were able to take it right at the terminal near me, take it right out of the back of my Volkswagen station wagon with a forklift and ship it on. So, maybe there's some good could come about it, as long as, like you said, don't let the broker shortchange you, and be willing to do the hard work now.
Well, the only thing I can disagree with is you said you need to have a bunch of owner-operators come together. You don't understand this. You can't get three of us in a room to agree to anything.
Well, that's like all Americans right now.
We got drivers out there now complaining about the brokers, but yet they still use them. TQL was on a no-haul list. I wouldn't do any more business with them. People are complaining about TQL, but yet they're still calling them for loads.
Well, I assume a lot of people are feeling the financial crunch, and they with the price of diesel fuel right now, they don't doing backhauls running, bobtail or empty vans or anything.
No, my second point was, how does a trucking company go out of business in a booming economy? It just doesn't happen. The economy is not booming. We're struggling bad.
Oh, yeah, our economy is smoke and mirrors right now, totally.
Well, this is a wrap. 7 will be on at 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. Follow everyone on the stage, the host, co-host, everyone you like listening to. You can catch us, the recording, on Spotify if you miss us. And we're also on Rumble. Those links are up in the nest. We do have Punchbowl, the Punchbowl Space the Punchbowl.space version 2 coming out. It's going to be fantastic. If you're clicking on the internet or the link to the website, that's what it looks like currently. And we have something much more appealing to the eye and friendly in what you're used to looking at. So everybody have a good day. Enjoy your Wednesday. Jump in other spaces. Don't be scared to ask for a mic and speak. Jeff, you got anything?
Nope. It was another awesome day. Good topics. Got to dive deep on some stuff. And I think people might have learned a little something with some of this. And hopefully throughout today and yesterday, we got rid of most of the fear porn going around. That way people can relax.
Jeff G, got anything?
No, I'm going to go out and enjoy some of this pink sun that everybody keeps talking about.
Well, you're not in the cloud. You're not in airnow.gov in that gray area. Jen, got anything?
Yeah, touch some dirt, get outside. I'm even outside in the pink sun. So, yeah, get out there, do something, create something, be somebody.
Sam?
Everyone should stay inside and read a book. It's dangerous out there. My God, if the sun is pink, don't go out in it. Look at the pictures of the sky down in the purple pill. Everyone should be hiding in their garage like I am. And you can take this opportunity to read a book because every one of you knows that you haven't read a book recently. Like, shame yourself today. Read a good book, read a classic. You'll learn something from it.
You guys balance each other out so well.
Don Quixote. Webb. Crickets.
He's broccoli.
Webmeister?
Caw, caw.
Say good night, Rosie.
Good night.